Oh boy. Here I am again, making another video. Before we start, I wanted to clear up a few things.
For starters, Mellow Yellow is not Say. I mistook it for an alternative account, since the screenshots had Say in them talking to Hander. I wanted to apologize for getting that wrong. That was my bad on my part, and I really didn't mean to spread misinformation like that. Say gave the evidence to Mellow Yellow so they could put it all in the news channel. But expecting the images of NSFW to already be spoiled, they didn't check twice before sending, hence the disastrous amounts of porn on the announcements. Mellow Yellow's intentions were to help Say call out Hander's behavior. Say says it's their fault for that slip-up, since they're the one that didn't spoil the images when sending them to Mellow Yellow. But I personally think the images shouldn't have been sent at all. Remember that the TD2D server is still packed with minors. Child endangerment is something I still stand besides. Another thing, when the announcement was posted, there were no admins awake to take down the posts.
Only 2 watchers were awake, and since nobody was calming down, they shut down the channels until further notice. One of those watchers contacted me directly to clear that up, so I'm sorry you both had to deal with that whole commotion. This is still really weird, however.
You guys have 36,000 members in your server, and you're telling me you guys didn't have staff from different time zones to watch over the server at night? I understand that there was no community manager at the time, but you'd expect there to be backup or any of the sort. It doesn't seem practical to me. And lastly, with Say's confirmation, there are 3 servers to take note of. The official TD2D server, the tester server, and the developer server. Both the tester and developer server had NSFW channels. Those 2 servers had minors in them that could engage with said NSFW channels. I'll focus on the tester server for right now, however, and I'll talk about the developer server after. So now that that's out of the way, let's dive right in.
Say reached out to me after my video was posted and we talked about the situation in messages, where I was given a doc about all that's happened between Hander and Say. I'll give you a recap because I know for a fact barely anyone has bothered to read it. Say had subscribed to a Patreon artist they thought to be safe for work, but it turned out to be an NSFW patron instead. Soon a discussion about tails being drawn sexually was had, debating whether the artist was a pedophile or not. Hander jumped into the conversation and defended Say and the artist, saying how Tails was drawn to be an adult. This all took place in the voluntary chat. After a while, Hander started asking for the images. He kept asking and Say kept providing, afraid that if they'd stop, Hander would blackmail them. As Say kept sending the NSFW images from the Patreon every time Hander would ask, the tester server for TD2D was created, and a role called Senshin Fanatic was made.
This was made to access the channel called Senshin, which is dedicated to sending porn images of Senshin's art and more.
This was the artist Say was subscribed to, the one with the NSFW. That channel was used by both adults and minors alike, and a lot of porn images online were shared. Hander would allow Say into the developer server. The only thing Say had to do was send the NSFW drawings in said developer server. So at the end of the day, the developers of TD2D had to be aware of the situation, server being muted or not. Say was honored to have access to the developer server because Say had stated that Hander was like an idol to them. Hander wanted the images so bad that he wouldn't accept blurry drawings. He'd want them all to be high quality. It wasn't until Say's therapist told him that what Hander did was grooming, and that Say was taken advantage of, which is true. This is what leads us to Mellow Yellow helping Say expose Hander in the announcement channels, and the whole uncensored porn images situation. If you guys want to read it for yourself, the doc will be posted in the description. Say's doc has been placed in the announcements channel by Hander, exposing himself of being a groomer. So there you have it. Hander's a groomer, guys. It's right in front of us. I don't understand why we're not. Okay, why don't we want to talk about this? Both mods and members alike deny anyone of speaking out on the matter, completely silencing the situation as a whole. What's up with that? Their excuse is that 1, Say forgave Hander, 2, it started off as a joke, 3, there was miscommunication, and 4, they were both minors. You guys do realize minors can groom minors, right? And you guys do realize that even as a joke, asking for porn images to someone so young is disgusting, Right? Let's keep in mind that Say was 14 and Hander was 17. And even with Hander turning 18, he's still sexually engaged in the NSFW channel with minors in it. Not only that, he basically started all of this by asking a 14-year-old for porn images. How is no one realizing how weird this is? Let's not forget about the power dynamic here either. Hander is the main coder of TD2D. He is a developer. He abused that to get an impressionable 14-year-old that admired him to expose themselves to more porn just for his own liking. I'd also like to pull this out, thanking Say's friend for capturing this before it was erased from my comments section.
Mod from TD2D here. First off, I would like to say there's a lot of misinformation in this video. Second, you don't have to support or interact with Hander. You did not have to make this video. As of today, the situation between everything that happened in the server is done. Fixed. And now another mod has to go out of his way to get to you to convince you to take your video down, because it's causing yet again another issue. Do remember a few things. Hander was also a minor during that time. Say caused every single raid and made us clean up their mess. Members of TD2D were asked multiple times specifically not to talk about the Hander situation anymore, let alone make a video publicly on the matter. So someone is going to reach out to you soon, a moderator from TD2D. Be ready for that.
Misinformation? Yes. The video I made was in the heat of the moment and I was mad. Unfortunately, it's not my fault you guys were understaffed, and it was certainly not my fault that the allegations had to be put in the announcements in the first place because one of your admins groomed a 14-year-old. Let's not forget that. I don't have to support or interact with Hander, you're right. But you're admitting that you're aware that Hander is a groomer, and yet you still keep him on the team and do nothing about it. You're aware of what he did, and all you do is sit there and act like grooming isn't a crime. Did you proofread when you wrote this? I don't want to interact with a groomer. The situation between everything that happened in the server is done. Fixed. It literally isn't! What are you talking about? Ignoring your predatory admin in your server that has minors, by the way, is ignoring victims of grooming. Not only that, you even thinking the situation is over conditions your server into believing that just because the victim forgives their abuser, everything is suddenly fine and dandy now. And the fact that barely any member asked about the situation is because they listened to you, the admin, the people they look up to. Do you realize how fucked that is? Or do you care more about your reputation than spreading awareness about grooming and making sure the victim is heard? I'm not taking down my last video down until I say so. And yes, I do remember those things. Hander was 17 and close to being an adult. And even at 18, he engaged in sexual talk with minors. Did you read the doc? The raid you're talking about only happened once. Say simply removed most of the volunteers and erased the rules they made for the server. And members of TD2D were silenced to not speak out against a groomer, which makes them think it's fine when in reality it isn't. The mod you sent over was a watcher, and they were nice enough to explain to me what happened when all the mods were asleep, quote unquote. Even they acknowledged what Hander did was wrong. Guys, why don't we just kick Hander out of the server and ban him? Oh, hold on. Someone's calling me. Hey, man. What's going on? Oh. Oh, no. Oh, okay. No. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, of course. All right. Yeah. Bye. So, Philnex, the owner of TD2D, the disaster official server, gave ownership to Hander after he was exposed of grooming in the announcement channel. This is a mess. God, I hate this. Say's doc has enough evidence of his manipulation and guilt trip. He said things and done things that should not have been said or normalized to young teens. And when Hander said they didn't know what grooming was until 2 days ago in the screenshot, that's a lie. He's also engaged in jokes about grooming before, so he's very aware. Dude, stop, you're 18 now, this is grooming. Bro, we're literally posting porn in a server with minors, including you all. Hander also tried to normalize porn addiction and deemed it wasn't as bad as drug abuse. Which is so gross. He was 18 when he said this, guys! Don't worry, it's okay to be addicted to porn at least. Much better than drug addiction. Hander, you cannot be saying this at the age of 18. But true though. This is literally normalizing porn addiction to children, which is grooming! I'd also like to call out Fuma, who was also in the TD2D server. He was demoted. He was also posting images in the tester server with minors in them. He's an adult himself and uses the excuse of the characters have no age on a clearly child-coded character like Tails. Being called a pedophile is quite literally the right thing to do in this situation. Incorrect! Have you ever heard of lollies? Do you like lollies perchance? Oh, I don't think you do. Probably because lollies are basically little girls that can, consent because of their age. Even though they look like they're 5. What is not clicking in your brain? I hope that such accusations will seriously punish you so that you will not have the right to open your dirty mouth. You're a fucking adult! And despite all of that, Fuma was defended by the admin team. Everyone was aware of how wrong this was. The developers aren't safe from me either. They too had a server of their own, aka the developer server. This server also has minors, and they too had access to an NSFW channel that was made there. These were the roles. Kid porn is deranged, and they even had a designated Nazi channel, assumably for edgy humor, but nevertheless, that's still really weird. Also, the developers are doing nothing against Hander, which is really weird. Again, he's still the main coder of the TD2D game. So, that's awesome. That was sarcasm, by the way. If you guys can't kick this guy out, then you guys can at least leave the project and not support a groomer. Your silence says a lot, and the community you've created for this game says a lot as well. So there you have it. Hander's a groomer, and barely anyone in the TD2D community, members, moderators, and developers alike, rather silence a victim than call it a predator. Minor-to-minor grooming is a real thing, and the fact that people are finding excuses to defend this, that's so gross. It's so disheartening to see. The disaster is technically my community. I post for TD. I play TD, not the 2D version, but the 3D version. I care about it. I care about this community. So once more, I'm spreading awareness on the situation. I'm giving Say a platform. Because if no one's going to listen to them, then they might listen to me. Thank you so much if you actually watched this video. The Say doc is in the description again if you want to read it over.
I'd also like to thank everyone that helped me out with this. And I'm definitely not experienced in making videos like these. I made sure to try and do everything right. I'm sure this is pretty disorganized and stuff like that, but as long as it did its job, then it should be fine. And yeah, that's all I have for right now. Thank you again, and have a good day.